Right, we're going to look at one more type of graph for categorical variables, and that's a pie chart. So there are a lot of different graphs you can make for a categorical variable, but the two most commonly used ones are a bar chart and a pie chart. So the purpose of a pie chart is to emphasize each category's relationship to the whole. So we have an example here that is lunch sales. Looks like they bring in maybe about $2,000 in sales each day, and they've broken it down into 40% of those sales are from sandwiches, 15% are from desserts, and so on. So a pie chart, the description here is that the entire group of cases is a complete circle. So we're not missing any pieces. And altogether, it makes up a whole circle. And then each of the slices are proportional to the fraction or the percentage for that category. So for example, the sandwiches is 40%, so that slice should be quite a bit bigger than this one for beverages. It's only 9%. Okay, so they should be sized relative to each other. And then there's a note here. So the categories must represent or make up a whole. Don't make a pie chart unless it adds up to 100%. Okay, a bar chart you can use with any categorical variable you want. If you're going to do a pie chart, there's a couple of things you got to check first to make sure that a pie chart is appropriate. So let's take a look at those. Okay, the first one is that no categories overlap. So people don't get counted twice. So if I asked you what kind of pets you have, and somebody has a cat and a dog, then you would get counted in two different categories. That would be a problem with a pie chart. And then you need to make sure that you have all of your data. So if you're using percentages, you should have 100% of your data. If you're using counts, right? So maybe I surveyed 500 people. I want to make sure that the numbers add up to represent that whole 500 people. If for some reason I can't meet these requirements, I can always default back to making a bar chart. So you always can make a chart of some kind, but the pie chart has some specific restrictions on it. All right, so here's an example of somebody who made a pie chart that really should not have. And this is from the US Department of Justice statistics. So one would have hoped they had some good statisticians on staff, but this graph sadly has some issues. So this graph is titled The Recidivism Rate of Prisoners Released in 1994. So what that means is prisoners that were released in 1994, if they committed a crime that sent them back to jail, that's what recidivism is, then it was recorded what that crime was. So we have here violent offenses was about 62%, property offenses was 74%, drug offenses is 67%. We're already over 100%. So we definitely have a problem here. This isn't an appropriate use of a pie chart, although it's a very cute graphic with a handcuff and everything. And that's kind of a way that a lot of people get into trouble with graphs is they try to do something cute rather than relying on the graph to convey the correct interpretation of what's going on. So why did this one add up to more than 100%? My guess is that people might have committed more than one crime at the time that they were arrested and sent back to jail. So maybe these property offenses, maybe that's theft or something like that. And if somebody went to rob a house and they had a gun or some sort of weapon with them, they could have been charged with a violent crime and a property crime at the same time. Right? Or if they were on drugs at the time that they did that, then they could have been charged with 3 of those. And so this is how you end up with these categories adding up to more than 100%. So before you make a pie chart, you always want to make sure that if you have percentages, they add up to 100% or very, very close to 100% if there's a little bit of rounding. Or you want to make sure you know the total number of people that were in your sample and that really those counts add up correctly. Okay, we'll come back in the next video and we'll take a look at how to make bar charts and pie charts in Excel.